back. It's the hit back with Natasha Black. It's the hit back with Natasha Black.
The Hit Back with Natasha Black is sponsored by the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, BTC, Boost Academy, Dwayne Sands of Elizabeth Estates, Nassau Motor, and the Progressive Liberal Party.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome to the Hit Back. I'm your host, Natasha Black. I hope that everybody's doing well, taking care of yourself, living your best life as best as you can, taking care of yourself. Listen, take all of the vitamins, all of the minerals, nutrients, everything that you need. Keep your immune system up. Find yourself some people who give you some good laughs. Jokes and humor are part of the Bahamian staple. And those are the things that will carry us through in hard and trying times. So find yourself some positive people, stay close to them, and enjoy the laughter, man. There's something always good to laugh at. It's always jokes. This is Bahamian culture. All we do is find jokes. Things are heating up. We got a good show for you today. I'm expecting very soon the Minister of Education, the Honorable Jeffrey Lloyd, will be joining us. In the next 5 to 7 minutes, will be joining us to talk about education, where we are with education moving into the new school year. Hello to everyone who's watching online, everyone who's listening in your cars, who are at work. If you're listening at home, thank you so much for tuning in. And for everyone who's super excited about the Minister of Education, Jeffrey Lloyd, joining us on the show. So we got a few things to hit before the minister joins us. And also we have joining us representatives from the Bahamas Doctors Union. Y'all, some things are going on. And I think that it's going to be very interesting what is shared here. Someone asked, how's Sawyer Boy doing? And I'm happy to say that I've seen him online. Folks, he's not as bad off as folks were thinking and reporting. So I think that he's making that turn positively, and we're looking forward to seeing him soon. So I think that's good. Someone says, hope he shows up. Hope he shows up. So in the meantime, whilst we wait for the good minister, he'll be here. He'll be here. He's been working on it, and so we're looking forward to having him on. So there is some things that were big. Right? Some big things that have happened today that we cannot overlook. And in terms of statements and responses, someone says, former Minister of Education, Jeffrey Lloyd. All right. So let me do, before the minister comes on, certain things. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up. So this is going to be very interesting. So yesterday, I think you guys saw this yesterday. A photo went about showing the leader of the opposition, Philip Brave Davis, in a meeting with some of these union leaders, and saying that there was a memorandum of understanding with the major trade Congress unions, right? So that was big. You say, oh, Brave Davis is the leader of the opposition, is making the moves to make amends, and we are going to see, or he's looking very prime ministerial and making moves. But then this morning, there was a letter sent out. Right, a letter sent out early this morning by the citizens from the affiliates of the National Congress of Trade Unions regarding the response of the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the TUC and the NCTUB. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is just the season, right? So it goes like this. We, the affiliates of the National Congress of Trade Unions, Bahamas, namely Airport, Airline, and Allied Workers Union, Bahamas Airline Pilots Association, Bahamas Commercial Stores and Warehouse Union, Bahamas Financial Services Union, Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, Bahamas Musician and Entertainers Union, Bahamas Public Services Union, Bahamas Union of Teachers, Union of Public Officers, almost every union. We bring to the public's attention that we were not involved in the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the Progressive Liberal Party that was allegedly signed yesterday. We have never seen the document. We are not aware of the contents of the MOU, and it has not been tabled, discussed, or ratified by the NCTUB. In fact, The NCTUB has only held 2 meetings since January 2020. The Central Council has not met and has not ratified any documents, much less an MOU. Hence, the purported signing is not on behalf of the majority of the affiliates of the NCTUB. We are disappointed that President Bernard Evans, who openly announced more than 2 months ago that he was quitting the labor movement without even informing the affiliates, and is now making a mockery without even informing the affiliates, and is now making a mockery of the NCTUB. We, the affiliates, have no confidence in President Bernard Evans, and for several months, we have been asking him to resign and vacate the seat. This disingenuous action of a purported signing on our behalf is the straw that has broken the camel's back. This is in contravention of our Constitution, and we refuse to stand idly by and allow our members to be used as pawns. We would like to reassure the members of our various unions that we are committed to continue to serve you, and we are not involved in pushing anyone's personal agenda. In solidarity. Well, wait a minute. Y'all didn't see that coming now. Did we see that coming? We didn't see that coming, but there was a response to that. All right. This is the response to that, right? Assistant Secretary General, NCTUB, right? This is the response to this letter. Yesterday, the 25th of August, 2021. The NCTUB participated in the signing of the document MOU with the PLP. This MOU is an extract of the workers' agenda developed by the 2 umbrella trade unions. Notwithstanding the signing of the documents as approved by the Executive Council of the NCTUB, it is pending the ratification by the Central Council of the NCTUB. The document was discussed and approved by the Executive Board in its August 24th, 2021 meeting, at which a majority of executives were present. The document, the Workers' Agenda, is the culmination of discussions with NCTUB and CBTUC affiliates over the last several months. The executives of the NCTUB are disappointed that the rogue elements of the Congress who seek leadership of the same are prepared to bring into the public domain matters internal to the organization. Child, that's some serious infighting, eh? Oh, there's some serious infighting going on here. Okay. We will not be tempted to behave likewise. Suffice it to say that the majority of the affiliates of the NCTUB have the confidence in the current leadership, which has been ordered by consent by the Supreme Court to remain in place until matters brought by rogue elements of the Congress are fully disposed of. Additionally, the unsigned document is full of misinformation and half-truths. It also includes unions that are observers of the NCTUB. Regards, Brother Daniel Thompson, Assistant Secretary, NCTUB, President of the UT. Man, listen, there's so many acronyms, so many letters. God help you. So, ladies and gentlemen, so what we're saying is, so this is now this unfolding, this onion, right? This unfolding. So yesterday, the PLP did have a memorandum of understanding with the NCTUB, and what was the other union? I have it here, where they are having this meeting and came to a memorandum of understanding on how they would move forward, right? And the NCTUB, TUC and the NCTUB. So this is where we have this little, foray. So today now, this is a press release. I got this at 11:26 this morning, saying that all of these unions they have no idea what happened yesterday, and that Bernard Evans, the present president, does not have their confidence, and he should not be running or dealing any business on their behalf anyway. But then you got the council, the Secretary General saying, but this is the workers. Then make sure I have it right. The executives, and this is what is this called? The Workers' Agenda is the culmination of discussions with NCTUB and CBTUC affiliates over the last several months. So what they're saying is, this is what we've already discussed. This is what we've presented. And we have this memorandum of understanding. So there's a lot of infighting. and that they should have put their name on it. Child, please don't make me sneeze. Oh, what a time. So the Progressive Liberal Party, I'm sure they're saying, we didn't do anything wrong. We were talking to the appropriate people, right? And then there are others who are saying, well, what sort of trickery is this? And now the Congress is saying, there is no trickery. We are the prime representatives of the group, and that we will continue. And let me see what it is. It says the executives of the NCTUB are disappointed that the rogue elements of the Congress who seek leadership of the same are prepared to bring into the public domain matters internal of the organization. What a time. What a time. Woo! Child, please. I don't know. This is big. This is deep. So that's something. And this is going to be interesting. Keep an eye out. Let's see how this plays out, right? Because of course, there's always this posturing in politics, right? I won't lie to you. I said, okay, yesterday, look at, Mr. Davis looking all prime ministerial and negotiating and getting his things together. I'm sure now if he looks back on it, he's like, for God's sake, I'm doing business with elements that ain't working together. You can imagine all of those lists of entities saying, we were not with Bernard Evans. How can he represent on our behalf? Child. Welcome. We are now in the rodeo, baby. In the rodeo. All right. Some other stuff too. 421. I still don't see my guest yet. Hopefully he'll be here soon. I'm looking forward to that. Jeffrey Lloyd. Good to see. Hopefully we'll get the minister to join us in a few minutes. Maybe he's just running late. So we'll see how that goes. But there's also something else that I want you guys to be abreast of. Someone says they were never together. They were never together. I don't know. It's amazing, eh? So there was something else too that came out today. A challenge, another challenge, I think. That's what I would call it. Another challenge. I thought of my good friend, Reese Chipman, the independent candidate and a member of parliament for Centerville. This felt like a Reese Chipman thing, where Reese would bring to fore what is not being done in accordance to statute. But this came from out of the I would say the depths of the Progressive Liberal Party, and not the depths, but really from the leadership. And I thought this was very interesting. So I read this morning. So you guys got to stay with me here, because there are things that are going on that is very interesting to me that I am enjoying quite a bit. Now we're seeing these chess moves, these moves here, and responses to moves. Now, if we knew just politics or an election would get results this quickly, we just have a long-standing election. But it ain't results for, the things that we really need results for. But let's see. Someone says he ain't coming. Move on. Quiet Lincoln Bain. Y'all funny. All right. So I want to share this with y'all. This is a statement here. This is a statement, right? Where's Minister Lloyd? He'll be here. Minister Lloyd will be here. I'm almost certain he'll be here. If not, I call a good friend. So here is another statement that was issued by Mr. Chester Cooper, deputy leader of the PLP. There's a lot of things that have been issued, right? A lot of things that have been issued, but this one was the most interesting. And I'll tell you why, because of the content of this letter. This letter by far was the most interesting statement done today. And I probably got 13 press statements in my phone today. So this was one that is very interesting to me. And I want us to pay very close attention to this statement right here. And I want to make sure I enlarge it so everyone can see. Statement on breach of pre-election fiscal update law. Get that, pre-election fiscal update law. Ask yourself, did you even know this was a thing? In the early days of the minister administration, when it was still operated under the pretense of wanting fiscal transparency, the Fiscal Responsibility Act was passed. This is what the statement is saying. Included in that act is the requirement to report the state of government fiscal affairs prior to a general election. Section 11(1) of the act states, the minister shall not earlier than 30 working days, nor later than 20 working days before the day appointed as a polling day in relation to any general election of members of parliament, arrange to be published on an official website of the government a pre-election economic and fiscal update which shall include the information specified in the third schedule. All right, catch that. Based on the act, and I want us to make sure we catching this. Based on the act, say Jeff. Based on the act, there is supposed to have been pre-election day. Someone said the PLP election. What it is? A campaign song should be played. Based on the act, there should have been, or no, not earlier than 30 working days, 20 days before, a pre-election fiscal report. I didn't know this was the case, right? And said there are 15 working days left before the polling day, including today. The Minister Administration is yet again in the breach of law. For the record, the pre-election and fiscal update is required by law to include government revenue and expenditure outrun for the current year, blah, blah, blah. We call, and it says, this is where it's interesting. Since the annual budget, including contracts and service projects and policies, and the outstanding stock of arrears for all government entities, including showing separately all new unpaid invoices since the stock of arrears was last reported, blah, 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 right? So now they're going to call on the Minister Administration to live up to their own fiscal responsibility bill. And I was like, I didn't even know this is great. But I did not see this coming, y'all. What I didn't see coming was that they responded. The administration responded in kind. And I was like, this is actually pretty awesome that they responded to it. And we are going to get, ladies and gentlemen, this finance pre-election and fiscal update report tomorrow. Anybody else excited about this? That we are going to get this pre-election and fiscal update for publication. It will be available online tomorrow in keeping with the legal requirements of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Can I get a round of applause? Can I get a round of applause for the government responding to Chester Cooper? And maybe this was something they were already doing, and Chester Cooper said it too early before they did it, and so it preempted it, but I don't care. Can I just tell you that this is going to be a document I'm looking forward to seeing, and that the administration is going to present it. Things they said now, the Fiscal Council is responsible solely for the preparation and publication of its reports. A cursory review of the Fiscal Responsibility Act will confirm their independence from the political directorate in respect of their duties. This administration has set the standard for accountability and transparency in respect of the laws that it has passed that now provide to the country for the first time published quarterly budget reports, published fiscal strategy reports, a brand new financial and procurement legislative regime, and a dedicated budget website, budgetbahamas.gov.bs, where Bahamians can at any time review all of the publications and reports and see for themselves how their tax dollars are collected and spent. Can I say they ain't lie there? They did do all of that stuff, and we are going to see a pre-election and fiscal update. For the first time, we are getting this document. And, someone says it's about time they actually obeyed the law. Someone says, yeah, we're going to get it. But that doesn't change the fact that they were in breach. Yeah, they got called out. Someone says, wait on it. Y'all so tough, man. You're tough. It cost me choke on that. So tough. By the way, still waiting on my guest, Jeffrey Lloyd. He was supposed to be here at 4:15. We're just going to assume that he's running late, but I believe that the minister will be here shortly. The minister is a good man, and he will be here. He has logged in. Okay. I don't see him. We'll see. We can get that sorted out by the break, right? So someone said he's logged in, but I don't see him. So hopefully we'll get the technical issues dealt with, right? So, someone says no applause here for something that should have been done. And by the way, it is late. It is late, right? Because it's supposed to be 20 days in. Were they called out? I'm trying to give this government and as a give them a break. I'm trying to give them a break and believe that they are honorable men and women and would go ahead and do the tough thing. So we will be getting, ladies and gentlemen, go online tomorrow because I am going to be there early. Now they didn't say, at the crack of dawn. They didn't tell me if it was 12 in the morning. I don't know, but I could be looking. I could be right there. And it shouldn't start when people go to work. It's online. It should get there first thing in the morning. I'm looking forward to it. So it is one of those things that's fun and great for me. Someone says, "Jeff, he's coming. They said he's logged in. I just don't see it." Let me go to commercial break, which is in a minute, that he will hopefully resolve the technical issue and he'll be online. Y'all believe, man. Be believers. The Minister of Education is going to be with us. Let's go to a commercial break. Y'all ain't safe. See, y'all ain't safe. Someone says, keep waiting. That's like the bride, which you give up before the wedding. Yes. Y'all just let me go. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, the Minister of Education, Jeffrey Lloyd, will be with us. We'll be back after.
Hello, Bahamas. My name is Dr. Dwayne Sands. I was born and raised in Centerville, in the heart of the valley, Nassau, Bahamas. I'm a proud Bahamian. I've been fortunate to represent the great people of Elizabeth for the last 5 years. It has always been my dream to serve my country, and I have been involved in the political process on the front line since 2009. I am very, very proud of the support of my family, who have been with me from the beginning and who are still with me to this day. In particular, my wife, Larica, and all of my children. And actually, there's quite a few of them. I'm actually a cardiovascular surgeon. What that means is I take on the sickest people with the biggest problems every day. And so for me, the political process to deal with the challenges facing our country is pretty much par for the course. It's what I do every day. I am happy to be a part of the great team of the Free National Movement under the leadership of Dr. Hubert Minnis. We are indeed Elizabeth Strong.
This has been a paid political announcement by the F&M candidate for Elizabeth.
Beulah gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood. We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too? Of course we can. But we could be in deep trouble if they find out. We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami. So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles. Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody go want come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal. So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
When I had got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
COVID-19. Do not panic. Be prepared. Some persons may get worried and feel stressed whenever there's an outbreak of diseases like COVID-19. Do not panic. It is better to be informed and prepared. Talk to a healthcare professional about your concerns. Make a plan for how you will keep your home and workspace clean and disinfected. Practice proper hygiene and preventative actions such as proper hand washing and coughing and sneezing etiquette. Stay informed about local COVID-19 updates from trusted and reliable sources.
This message brought to you by Bahamas Ministry of Health in conjunction with Guardian Radio.
It's the hit back with Natasha Black. It's the hit back with Natasha Black. It's the hit back with Natasha Black. It's the hit back with Natasha Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Natasha Black. Still dealing with some, technical issues, trying to get the minister on. And hopefully we'll get it resolved. as soon as possible. If not, we will have to do it hopefully at another time. So, because I know, listen, I got so many questions for the good minister, and I got parents who are waiting for the good minister of education. This is very disappointing, very disappointing. So, but I still believe, we still got time. We still got time. Our segment is from, 4:15 to 5 o'clock. We still got time. But I guess whilst we're waiting on the minister to join, Minister Jeffrey Lloyd, so we'll see. I really just had enough content to talk for the first 20 minutes. I really thought I just had enough for the first 20 minutes, and then we would switch over, and then I could have the minister. So I didn't come really prepared. So let's switch. Let's make the move. Let's make the move. Somebody said, don't do it. Okay, so we're waiting, hopefully. And these things happen, right? But school is coming. Sit a man in there. Okay. I think it's a technical issue. We'll get it resolved as soon as he can, settle himself and get that resolved. So we'll get it resolved. I think I see him. I think we're going to have the minister. I see him. There he is. Minister Lloyd, just wave if you're ready. Just wave if you're ready. Let me know when you're ready and I'll wave. Yes, we got Jeffrey Lloyd. I see him. See y'all. Oh, ye of little faith. All right. So Jeffrey Lloyd, Minister of Education, about to join us right now to get started on this conversation. So let me bring him on right now. Minister Lloyd, welcome.
Hi. Welcome.
How are you?
Oh, blessed. Beautiful. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Listen, some folks are like, well, it's the devil and the technicalities of it all. It's a pleasure to have you on, Minister Lloyd. Ministry of Education. I think this is one of those times when by far everyone, the ministry finds itself under mounting pressures to make sure that school is open on time, that we are getting all of the information that we need, add to it COVID protocol. So I'm really happy that you're on the show with us. I want to ask you first, Minister Lloyd, what is it like coming into the second term of a COVID year? What are some of the logistical challenges that the Ministry of Education faces when trying to do education under these circumstances?
Thanks a lot, and pleasure to be with you this afternoon. Same challenges as last year. Very, very same challenges. Nothing really changes. Except, of course, we have a year under our belt, and we should now be much better at it. I'll give you an example. Last year, March 17th or thereabout, when the system shut down, teachers didn't know how to teach online. Mm-hmm. Students, for the most part, didn't know how to learn online. And thousands of our students didn't have devices. Thousands of our students didn't have access to internet, reliable access to internet. A lot of logistical issues, difficulties with a variety of matters. Because of the resilience and the talent and the commitment of our people, those were essentially addressed immediately and rectified as we went along. Someone said, it's like building a plane while you're trying to fly it, or flying a plane while you're trying to build it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now that you have thousands of our teachers trained, continuously trained, now that you have students understanding what it is to be online learning, now that you have an understanding that we are in a health crisis and you have to take a responsibility and do what you must do in order to negotiate this safely and productively for yourselves, instead of hoping and wishing that it goes away. Now that you have a responsibility to, as it were, those eligible to vaccinate yourself, maintain health protocols, and so on, people are beginning now to adjust themselves to this, what you might call a new reality. And so this time around, though we are entering, for the public schools at least, into a virtual space, and though, yes, there are still folks who prefer to be face-to-face, and certainly I do. I wish our students could be face-to-face, for God's sakes. Teachers would love to have their students with them. Students want to be face-to-face. There's a certain understanding and acceptance of the reality in which we exist. So, and Ms. Black, there's still folks who don't have devices, don't have reliable internet access. And as we did last year, for those in our community who are part of the social service network, welfare system, we are going to provide that for them.
Minister of Education Jeffrey Lloyd joining us on the show. One of the questions I think that has been asked, or that was a concern that you mentioned last year in the academic year, was the amount of students who had not been able to or found themselves not in school, not in the classes, not online. How have you, does the Ministry of Education, have you created a plan that would find a way to capture or recapture those young persons, knowing we're going back into a school year that will be virtual again, starting?
I tip my hat. I bow in adoration to the extraordinary work that our teachers are doing and have done in calling parents, going into the community, going to their homes, finding ways to reach these young people and their parents. Why is Nahaja not in school today? I haven't seen him or her since Monday. Why isn't Jeffrey turning in his homework? Miss Black, why isn't there a response from you? We have sent messages to your cell phone and so on and so forth. You know, Mrs. Black, I have said repeatedly, not only in education as a minister, talk show host like yourself, education is everybody's business. Everybody must play a role. I am so proud of and, just inspired by the thousands of parents and their students, children, who understand, appreciate the value of an education in this day's world, and who are committed despite the inconveniences, the impediments, and so on, to forge through and to, make a way where there's sometimes a difficulty in making it. I am equally as disappointed in parents who just simply don't care. I mean, let me be frank, do not care. They seem not to understand or appreciate their fundamental responsibility in assisting their children in getting an education, training. Now, please, it is not exclusively the parents' responsibility. Let's be clear about that. The ministry must do its part. The government must do its part. Civil society, you and many others must do our part. The child must do his or her part. But that parent must also do his part. And I can't tell you, and I talk to teachers all the time, and I've stood at the gate at C.I. Gibson and gone into classrooms, and I've asked administrators and others. So when you call these parents and you say, Nahaja has not been in school, what do they say? Child, I ain't got time for that. I trying to hustle something to get for these children to put something on the table. Yeah, but they're not in school. Yeah, well, I didn't do my part. I see the daddy now, must see for almost 3 years. So, I gotta be about, I know.
Yeah.
You've heard it.
And it's a challenge.
Right?
Yeah, I've heard it.
And you see, when Jeffrey Lloyd comes across like that, he think he better than people, he arrogant and so on. Well, I mean, I've heard that from time to time, but really is it? You know the struggle. You have to work, Mrs. Black. You understand what is the difficulty. But we have unfortunately, these parents and the children are screaming for attention, begging someone to look at me. I need help, and please help my mommy to help me. Like I said now, there are many parents, even in what we consider the, quote unquote over there. I grew up in Camp Road. And I'm in Camp Road regularly, daily almost, to see my family and so on and so forth. I know the struggle.
So let me ask you,
fighting through it.
Let me ask you this. With regard to that, are we finding that the 30% or that number that was presented last year who were not in school, are you finding that from what you're presenting or what is being presented to you, that is the challenge, that it's just as a lot of parents not cooperating or helping to get their kids in school? Is that what we've gathered from that 30%?
Fundamentally. Now, I can't again put it all on the parents. Yeah, man, the children too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you still have children whose parents like ain't checking, but boy, I get my education. I can do what I need to do because I realize this, whatever life I live in now, I don't want to continue to live. I won't move out of this. I won't get beyond this or whatever the case is. So you congratulate them and you hear some of the stories. I mean, and I'm happy to tell you though, mind you, this is not increasing. We are seeing now a decrease. We are seeing now more parents getting like, oh, okay then, yeah, I guess I better take this seriously because look like this COVID could be with us, this virtual could be with us, so on and so forth. And at the same time, you are beginning to see children. I mean, those who may, kind of fallen aside saying, boy, you know something, this thing's serious. We better get with it because, so on and so forth, who I know ain't graduated last year. And you know what that means? I can't, go to this, I can't get no job or so on and so forth. So fortunately, I think that COVID and this continuous reverberating message that I give and others seem to be fortunately and gratefully getting through.
Jeffrey Lloyd, Minister of Education. When we look at the technical side of it, so of course, moving into COVID, like you said, was like a plane, learning to fly a plane while you're in the air, right? So we, of course, had to make these steep adjustments to our educational system in terms of the way education is delivered. That then entailed a steep curve and new technology in the interim. The big question that many have asked is, why did we choose the software that we did versus something that was probably more intuitive, like a Google Classroom, versus the software we have? One, and two, have we done the training necessary for teachers to master the software?
Answer is yes. And number two, training has been done. Teachers and administrators, let me use the term educators, have become more and more comfortable. Let me give you a little bit of history. For almost 30 years, the Ministry of Education has been trying to digitize the system. Almost 30 years. Tens of millions of dollars have been spent in this attempt. Tens of millions of dollars. In just the project before I came to office, sponsored by the Italian American Development Bank, some $20 million. And it's not very much to show for it. I mean, you may have heard others, union presidents, mention the many seemingly wasted resources that were just left to rot, never was implemented, utilized, and so on. And so there is a certain hesitancy, a suspicion that arose in the hearts and minds of educators about yet another project to digitize. I mean, we've been through this, those who are in the system, we've been through this must be 5 or 6 times. Man, I ain't not interested. But we forged through. We pushed through. And yes, there was hesitancy. Yes, there was doubt. But we pushed through. And the reason, and I've been advised, but the reason is that people saw you started something and you drop it. You start something and you drop it. And you don't give it time to work itself and work out the kinks, which all systems will have, and perfect it by using it over and over and over again, and giving people the time to get used to it so it becomes old hat. You remember when you were first learning how to drive, you run off the road, your daddy said, oh, Jesus, boy, this girl can kill all us in this car here today, so on and so forth. After about 6 months, man, you was a pro like him. Okay? But if he had given up because you one time hit the brakes too hard or one time didn't steer the car straight, man, where would you be today? And this is the challenge that we had with this digitization exercise. Tens of millions of dollars essentially wasted. But we were committed as a government, as a minister. No, we're going to get this. We are going to do this, whatever comes. Right. And thank God we have. Boy, because I tell you, Mrs. Black, if we did not implement and install a digitized system in this Commonwealth of the Bahamas for education, you would have seen disaster come Dorian, number one, but more especially pandemic. Oh,
So this software that we have now for education, because that's really where I think folks want to be, are very curious. What did the Ministry of Education see in this particular software that it considered to be more useful, more intuitive for us versus something that was already free and being used by private schools like Google Classroom? Like what was it about this platform that made it where the Ministry of Education chose that over something that was already being used freely by even our private schools here?
don't forget, you're talking about private schools, 900 students. You're talking about a system, 75,000 students.
Right,
Huge
but
difference.
the world is using Google Classroom. So I was just curious. The world is
But
using it, so
again,
the platform is
but the
stable.
world as a system may not be using Google Classroom. For instance, this system, the learning management system, coupled with the education management information system, has been tailored for us specifically. We are unique. We are not like a Jamaica, one island mass, Trinidad, one island mass, so on and so forth. We have got a variety of situations in our country that is unlike many other countries, an archipelagic nation, and having to repeat systems throughout our country 16, 17 times. And,
Okay.
and because there's a familiarity with global classrooms and Edmodo and so on, this system enabled those teachers and educators who wanted to continue to use that to incorporate it in it. So there are teachers now who are using Google Classroom under the remit of the learning management system and Teams and other forms of platforms that they find comfortable with. No difficulty.
So those platforms are integrated into this software.
Thank you.
So that's what you're saying. And so when you guys looked at it, you thought that was a better option, even though there was a steep learning curve there. So the teachers then are far more comfortable now, of course, than they were last year.
And have been trained. You see, what the failure in previous iterations was the lack of training, and this is a cultural issue with us. All right, I mean, you know this more than I do. When I first cooked peas and rice, first time, my mother told me the only reason she eating this is because she don't like the waste food or seafood waste. I think is the time she used. I mean, and I'm pretty good. But if you don't work at it and keep practicing it and training, you can't train one time and think that people are going to get it. You have to go over and over and over and over again. And that's why now our teachers are comfortable, because the training has been ongoing since last year, March. The training sessions and the tutorials are now archived that they can go back and review at their leisure and at their pace until they get it. Secondly, we have what we call team leaders, so that you, Miss Black, you are more capable, more familiar, more at ease with this system than I am. So you, in a sense, kind of take me under your wings and you work with me and walk me through some of the issues, challenges, difficulties that I may have. All right. And don't forget now, yes, we have a cohort of younger teachers in the system, much younger, coming out of the University of the Bahamas, first, second, third, fourth, 10th year. But there are many teachers in our system who've been in the system a while, who are very accustomed with the manual way, for whom, this technology thing they ain't too hot with that now. Okay. So you have to be a little more patient and you have to go at it a little bit slower. And they're doing okay. They're doing okay. Because, I mean, look at us now. We are virtual and we are doing okay.
Someone says all other systems can work with the LMS and are being used with the system, including Google Classroom. I think that is one of the teachers there.
Well, I mean, the teacher in reference here, one of my dearest teachers, leaders, and so on, is a facilitator at the school in the South, and is one of the kind of leading lights in encouraging and assisting. Remember, I talked about team leaders, and we just touch on it for us.
Minister Jeffrey Lloyd joining us on the show. One of the things that we are looking at, Minister Lloyd, and thank you so much for the time and being with us on the show. Parents are, so two questions, quite a bit of questions, but some parents are saying, okay, look, is there any sort of strategies that you can give parents who have to work on how they can assist their children with online learning? Are there any tools that are parent or resources parents can use? Does the ministry have a resource where they can say, listen, if you have to work, you can have this type of, there's a word that I was thinking of, where you can have an intermediary online, help them, invigilator of some sort. Any sort of tools or resources where parents can get support if they have to go out to work that the ministry has provided?
Working on that most assiduously at this time. What we would like, we have a virtual school. What we would like is for those parents, and we are again inviting our corporate and our civic partners, who, let's use as an example, a church hall. And this is already happening, but a church, there's a hall. The church has Wi-Fi. So under the supervision of that church's elder or elders, that, they have taken, I've seen this now, I'm telling you in the experience, they have taken 3, 5, 7, 10, 15 of their members' children. And not as a teacher, but as an invigilator, as a facilitator, who you have your device, you are at CV Bethel, you are TG Glover, you are so on and so forth, making sure that you're online, making sure that you're staying focused, making sure that you're not being disrupted by so on and so forth. That is already happening. And I would respectfully invite them to do that. Secondly, there are now what is growing in our Bahamas, something called home-based schooling, where the, say you, Mrs. Black, have the facility. You're already dealing with your 1 or 2 children, but you have your sister, you have your neighbor, who all now can come into your home because you have the space, and you can facilitate their learning. That is growing by leaps and bounds, Mrs. Black, like you wouldn't believe. Let me give you an example. When I became the Minister of Education, there was somewhere in the neighborhood of 550 home-schooled children. Today, the number is well past 3,000. You understand me?
And people are still asking. People are still asking,
I'm telling you.
Why and what are the facilities?
What they're finding, what we are finding is a great number of these, please forgive me, folks, I say this with all my love and respect, what I call boutique schools are springing up, okay? Mrs. Black is a former educator, an educator, who now was with a few other educators, open up a school, and they go from grades 1 to 4 or 3, or grades 1 to 7. How many students? 24. How many students? 46, and so on. I can't tell you how many persons are, how often that is happening. And what I find with that is, and many parents want that environment because Jeffrey needs that personalized, more like home-like or warm-like caring environment, rather than being at an X school, 33 students in a class. He can learn, but he needs just a little more attention. And that is working. It is amazing to see what's happening in education on that front. Same thing with preschool, absolutely amazing.
We have one of the things that I think folks have seen, and actually, you know what, I think we should go to break because I want to ask you, coming back, I had a teacher share a story with me on I think one of the family islands is Eleuthera or Long Island, one of the two, and now asking a particular question on what is the proper procedure or protocol for them showing up in person at school when their kids are working or being homeschooled. And so that I want to ask you something, a situation with that, to get your thoughts on it. What should their position be? We have joining us Minister Jeffrey Lloyd, Minister of Education. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. We'll be back right after this.
Elevate your home with BTC super fast fiber internet plans for the best speeds to stay connected. Get 50% more savings with us and speeds starting at 100 megabits per second up to 600 megabits per second. Enjoy the ultimate internet experience for all your work, study, and entertainment needs. Plus, get unlimited mobile benefits when you add it to your home internet plan. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
You're listening to the Guardian News Network. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Taylor Ferguson. Here's what's making news. Thank you for tuning in. Canon Crosley Joaquin urging government to allow other families to have funeral services inside churches. During his sermon at the state funeral for the late Arthur D. Hanna, Joaquin said restrictions like the absence of a body and a limit on the number of people who can attend the service would likely be accepted.
But human beings, being human beings, you no doubt will receive some criticism, some flack for what is happening here today. Although we all appreciate and know the rhyme and reason for having the state funeral for a builder and champion of the nation, there will still be some, and probably rightly so, asking why not the same for their loved ones.
The former Governor General's state funeral service was held at Christ Church Cathedral today. He was honored as one of the greatest nation builders. Under the current state of emergency, only graveside funeral services are allowed. Tension is brewing between the Bahamas Public Service Union and government. BPSU President Kingsley Ferguson says they're now at an impasse as a recent meeting was not fruitful. He suggested the government use the meeting as a political tactic instead of as a means to settle long-standing issues.
This particular type of behavior is unacceptable. The union is not trying to understand the government's position at all at this juncture.
The Ministry of Labor announcing the replacement of Acting Labor Director John Pinder, who stepped down from his post to run as the Free National Movement's candidate for Fox Hill in the upcoming election. Trade unionist Quentin LaRota is the new Director of Labor, effective September 1st. The ministry said in a statement, LaRota is a veteran educator and trained teacher who has served in the Ministry of Education and the Public Service for 22 years. LaRota has also served within the Bahamas Union of Teachers. That's what's making news. I'm Taylor Ferguson. AP News is coming up next.
Coronavirus update. I'm Ed Donahue with an AP News Minute. Stocks finished lower. The Dow down 192 points. The U.S. is projected to reach nearly 100,000 more coronavirus deaths by December 1st. That's the prediction from the nation's most closely watched forecasting model. But health experts say that toll could be cut in half if nearly everyone wore a mask in public spaces. In Afghanistan, 12 U.S. service members were killed in suicide bomb attacks around the Kabul airport. General Kenneth McKenzie with the U.S. Central Command says it looks like the Islamic State group is responsible.
If we can find who's associated with this, we will go after them. We've been clear all along that we're going to retain the right to operate against ISIS in Afghanistan. And we are working very hard right now to determine attribution, to determine who is associated with this cowardly attack. And we're prepared to take action against them 24/7. We are looking for them.
McKenzie warned there are still extremely active security threats at the airport. The evacuation there continues. I'm Ed Donahue.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The PLP is hosting an economic summit where financial experts and business leaders share ideas and plans for transforming the Bahamian economy. Speakers will discuss the PLP's economic plan, a new blueprint to create a Bahamian economy that works for everyone. Discussions include opportunities in high tech, renewable energy, and training for entrepreneurs. Go to plpeconomicsummit.com and learn how you can be part of a new Bahamian economy.
This has been a paid political announcement by the PLP.
Elevate your home with BTC's super fast fiber internet plans for the best speeds to stay connected. Get 50% more savings with us and speeds starting at 100 megabits per second up to 600 megabits per second. Enjoy the ultimate internet experience for all your work, study, and entertainment needs. Plus, get unlimited mobile benefits when you add it to your home internet plan. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
It's the hit back with Nahasha Black. It's the hit back with Nahasha Black. It's the hit back with Nahasha Black. It's the hit.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Special guest joining us, the one and only Minister of Education, Mr. Jeffrey Lloyd. Minister Lloyd, thanks so much again for joining us on the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So here are some questions we have, but I wanted to ask this one. We have some teachers. I know of a case where teachers are, or she's being told that they have to come to school to teach, right? To come to school, teach from school. But the parents, she's a parent, single mother, and she has some kids, and they are in school. They're also in public school, but they're homeschooling. She said, fine, I will teach, not a problem. I will just have to bring the kids to school with me, and was then told by the administrators, sorry, and I froze for a minute there, told by the administrator there that, no, we're not able to bring children to school. What would a teacher do in that situation? Is that the standard? Is that the norm? What is the process for teachers here in this new school year?
As a rule, the teacher is required to be on campus, and that rule provides for a teacher to write to his or her principal and request permission to teach remotely.
Yeah, and
So
that's something.
and I'm happy, Mrs. Black, that you brought this. Every single situation, as you know, is unique and will be given due consideration by the principal of that particular campus. And if that isn't if that's not satisfactory, then that the teacher has recourse to the district superintendent, to the director.
Yeah,
but
that was an exception even before last year, so it should not have been an issue this year. Something that was considered
an
acceptable.
principal and say, like you just said, our children are at school, at home, and especially if you're talking about baby children, very young children. Of course, I'm sure that the principal, because really think about it, Mrs. Black. What is really the point? Give instructions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give instruction. Now, yes, we feel that it is best for you to be there in an environment that is already resource rich and so on. But if the circumstances of your life does not permit that to happen, then our administrators, principals are very reasonable people. You and I are having a conversation right now. You ain't sitting 10 feet from me.
Right. So, and that's the thing where some ask, even teachers, I know teachers have asked, well, why can't we work from home in this situation? Have you guys looked at the data, Minister Lloyd, and said, okay, best from what we've seen in other jurisdictions and whatnot, we've seen that the results are better with teachers working at school versus from home?
No, we have not looked at any data. I think that the director's decision has been born by, his advice, the advice given to him by district superintendents, whatever their data, meaning that which they have observed, has told them that this is the best course of action for all concerned, and that is, of course, the teacher and the student, that the teacher is on campus in a reliable, I mean, when I say reliable, I mean internet-wise reliable internet, space capacity. I am advised that some teachers would have complained, did complain that you're using my internet to do teaching when it is your job. It is, and okay, well then the internet is on the campus and use the campus. You see.
So then go ahead.
Again, every situation I think is taken under very careful and special advisement and compassionate. I must respectfully say advisement, that if there is a reason that you should remain at home, because I can't imagine where you are going to place vulnerable, liable to injury, harm, or whatever, your own children, to care for the nation's children, as committed and dedicated as you are. I must confess, however, to you that the information known to me is that this remote option is at times abused.
The remote option at home, where you have teachers.
Is abused. It's abused.
I mean, and
the complaint doesn't only come from the administrators, but from parents and students.
And the abuse would be what? They're not showing up to class, or
yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is in the very, very, very itsy bitsy tiny minority. Let's be very clear about that. Our teachers, by and large, are very dedicated and committed. I told you about the situation, and I'm going into the Camp Road, into the West Street community, leaving C.R. Walker and C.I. Gibson and others, and going into people's houses. Nahaja, why aren't you in school? I don't have any uniform. But Nahaja, we told you, Nahaja, that you don't have to worry about uniform. Just come to school and let us help you with the uniforms if that's necessary. But don't stay home, because, when my mommy say don't go to school if I ain't got no uniform, where's your mommy? She going to work, or she out, or she around the corner with one of her friends, and so on. You see? Administrators would have reported to us that there are some teachers who would have taught the entire pandemic from home, even when they're required to be on campus.
Oh.
And you see, man, I used to say this when I was a deacon. Our sin is not personal. And I'll give you an example. One fella was going through the turnstiles, eventually got on a plane and had one bomb in his shoe. He committed an egregious violation of the law because of what he did. Nahaja, you and I, when we going through the airport, now got to take off our shoes. It's not personal. So when you abuse the system, understand that you are potentially making life a little bit uncomfortable, difficult
for someone else.
Okay. All right. You ain't about nothing in your shoe to create no fear and nobody. Why are you bothering with me? But somebody did something with one shoe. and
it changed everything.
Here, all of us now gotta basically strip naked to go through, just to be getting pat down like, some common criminals now.
I have a text for you, Minister Lloyd. Nahaja, I don't understand why they, meaning the Ministry of Education, I guess, are not opening schools when these kids are still going to virtual learning centers where the kids are still grouping together. Couldn't the same concept be used for schools? This is such an inconvenience that parents now have to pay twice for actual school fee, and now for someone to assist their kids with virtual learning while they are to work. Help make it make sense. What are your thoughts on that?
Very legitimate. I can't argue with that at all. And I've said many times, as everybody knows now, we are the ones who are carrying out the orders. We don't make them. We are directed by the Ministry of Health. we are told by the Ministry of Health, you, Ms. Black, is the Ministry of Health. We would like to open schools on August 30th. What are your directives according to the emergency order? Give us another week and we will tell you whether you should go virtual, hybrid, or you could go face to face. Now this is end of July now.
Yeah.
But you want announce quick because so on so forth. Give us a week. Okay, a week now is August 6th, 7th. All right. Come back. Cases are out, spiking and so on. I don't know. I mean, according to the data, I kind of think you might want to just go virtual. Well, can we go hybrid, face to face in some other islands? And if a case gets down there and they gotta be airlifted to New Providence, we ain't got no beds and so on, I think you might want to go. Well, anyhow, give us a week. We'll review this in another couple of days to see if the so on and so forth. All right, we are directed. All right. If you ask the Ministry of Health, face to face.
Phase two, say again?
Face to face.
Yeah.
Back in school. Okay.
Yes.
We know it's best for our students. It is best for the society. It is the most advantageous way that they learn. Their socialization, it's just wonderful. All right. However, we are advised on the circumstances that we now face, which are very clear to everybody, cases that are very significant, very concerning, so on, people dying, hospitalizations. No, be careful right now. Let's wait. Vaccine is here. Many people are taking the vaccines. We know about the cycle of every 2 weeks. Infection today, the manifestation of anyone who may have been contacted and infected by that is going to show up 2 weeks from now. When we begin to see the numbers start coming down, hospitalizations start coming down, then, okay. Because for us, safety first, safety first, safety first. I cannot live with any thought that a child contracts, is taken to the hospital, has an asthmatic condition or some other issue, and dies. And the parent says, I know education is important. I know face-to-face is very important, but my child's life is most important. And I cannot agree more. So, out of an abundance of caution, as we say in law, abundance of caution, let's just wait for a few more weeks. We hope that this will be soon past us and we can get back face to face. And of course, we all know what we need to do in order for us to do it and get there. So let's just give it a chance.
I have another question here, Minister Lloyd, and it's asking about the relationship between the Ministry of Education and the Teachers Union. And the question is, and I want to make sure I ask it correctly. 1 second, sorry, and I had it and all of a sudden I lost it. Okay. Is it possible, or is there a reason, because it seems to this person that there is not an amicable relationship? Is there a way that we can have a more amicable relationship with the Teachers Union and the Ministry of Education? Or is this something that is seen in the forefront and you guys are fine behind the scenes? So the question really is there really an issue between the Ministry of Education and the Bahamas Union of Teachers? Are you guys butting head constantly?
Not as far as I'm concerned. I think that the person is basically getting at the issue between Jeffrey Lloyd and Belinda Wilson, so they could come out and ask that straight up and down, and I think that's public knowledge. So
is there an issue? Is there a relationship issue with Jeffrey Lloyd and Belinda Wilson?
Well, I mean, it's public knowledge that I have requested of Mrs. Wilson, the president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, a certain course of action. And, that's, and again, I keep saying that this cannot and we should not be continuing to reduce these relationships to personalities. This is the Ministry of Education. It's not about Jeffrey Lloyd. And the Ministry of Education, the Bahamas Union of Teachers have a working relationship. I don't regard disagreements to be a problem relationship. You see it one way, I see it another way. It doesn't mean that there is a problem. And it doesn't mean that at all. And I've said many times, and let me call her by name. Mrs. Wilson is got a gifted educator. Knows her stuff. No question about it. Brilliant mind when it comes to education. Genius recommendations. No question about it. Many of which are adopted by the Ministry of Education. She is in constant communication on her offices with this ministry, in constant, daily almost, about matters evolving and affecting the teachers. And again, like I say, but to say about Jeffrey Lloyd and Belinda Wilson, this is about the young people of this country and our instructors, educators, who are doing, in my mind, a phenomenal job in a not so very comfortable situation. Okay? And we are going through it, and we are getting along just fine. I don't see disagreements necessarily as problems. I don't see it. And I would say that we have come a very long way in resolving some of the outstanding matters that we met when I came to office. Issues with promotions and reclassifications and so on, confirmations and so on. We are not all the way there, let's be honest. We are certainly not all the way there. And yes, that is at times frustrating, and it should be. And let me say to you, Mrs. Black, it's frustrating for me because I want our teachers to be comfortable and happy. I want our teachers to be satisfied. They are doing a great job. And when you are, irritated by things that, you need to get resolved and hasn't been resolved a year, 2 years, and 3 years, it deflates your morale. I'm a teacher. I've been in education. And I know that if you are not motivated and inspired and excited about being in your class with your students and so on because of some gnawing issue that, just doesn't seem to get resolved, and sometimes you kind of feel like people at headquarters and the minister and they don't care, they don't get it and so forth, which of course is not the case. I understand the irritation, but that doesn't mean that there's a problem. See, I don't want people to go away with that. Yes, we have a good working relationship.
I was just about that.
Yes, at times it is, it becomes a little tense because, again, there's one suggestion one way and one suggestion another way. But we work it out. Here we are. And I saw some news report of an agreement, an acceptance of the position we have taken with regard to virtual school and so forth, which again was a recommendation by the union. And this is again an example of the excellence that comes out of the union in terms of their recommendations, which again are accepted. But we can't just because a recommendation for the opening of school is made, we can't say, oh yes, we accept that, without first getting the approval by the Ministry of Health.
Some would say, well, is it a way to improve the relationship on the outside, or is this just the state of being? Is this just the state of being, or is there a way to improve it so that the students, the teachers get the best results from it? But you're saying that regardless of it, you're getting the best from this relationship.
Graduation rates have improved 36% in 3-4 years.
Based on the same numbers as before.
Based on what people consider this relationship and its unproductivity, graduation rates have improved. That's the teacher and the student's benefit. We have had the best grades between A and C in the history of the national exams.
Let me ask you on that. I'm glad you brought that up. Let me ask you something on that. Based on what parameters? And that the reason why I asked that is that the same number of students, same protocols based on our average of 2019, same amount of students in school. Is it skewed differently with the amount of students taking tests? Is it less students taking exams for your the different variations? So C and below A-level grades. Is there any data where we can look at this and actually just read about this in full?
Yes, that's right. The Testing and Evaluation produces a report every year. On Monday, there'll be a press conference every single year. And you will see, not just in the pandemic year, there has been a continuing decline in the number of students taking the exams for any number of reasons. And this doesn't just started in 2019 or 17. This has been going on for over a decade. Mrs. Black, when we came to office, there were 49,000 students in the public system. Today, there are 44,000. Do the maths. Do the math. Again, these exams are not mandatory. They are very voluntary. People take them if they wish. Thousands of students sign up for the exams that never take them.
Yeah,
their choice. All right. And you talk about that. This year, 2021, more students got an A in the BJC in subjects than at any time in our history. Last year, talking about unproductivity in a pandemic, the students, despite the exams being delayed, showed improvement in 15 out of 27 subjects over 2019 when there wasn't a pandemic. Okay, and 6 subjects in the BJC over 2019 showed an improvement. You know, and I keep saying to our people, stop selling our students and teachers short, man. We are talented people and do a great job, a great job, despite the circumstances. And I'm not here to tell anyone that we have the best circumstances. We are just making the best of the circumstances, like every other school system on the planet.
Minister Jeffrey Lloyd, with regard to some teachers are asking about an update on the laptops for teachers. Any update on that?
In process. And as you know, I mean, resources is always an issue, certainly in the last 18 months in this country. But yes, our commitment is that every single teacher in the system, some 4,000 of them, will receive a laptop provided them by their employer. Now, many thousands of teachers have received it. So don't let them make it seem as if, you know, thousands of teachers have received their laptops now. But we are committed at least to have those teachers receive their laptops. Absolutely.
Someone asked, is there any thought to teaching the Constitution, the Bahamian Constitution, and putting that in our syllabus?
Remember now, in social services, and you may ask the curriculum officer this, but in social services, the Constitution is a part of the social service curriculum. And when I say the Constitution, I mean more or less the fundamental rights, the structure of government, you know, so on and so forth. All of the other matters, and there are many parts, as many of our people know, to the Constitution. All of the other parts, you know, are not necessarily addressed in social studies because, you know, it's a little bit on the pondersome side in regard to intellectual. You know.
In terms of data, someone asked a really interesting question on the data of male students in schools, asking about the graduation rate. Is there any sort of data or strategy to get more of our young men in schools, graduating from high school into college? Is there a strategy or plan for that?
Well, one of the commitments we made, which we didn't bring fruit to in the standard, you know, just to the extent that we would have liked, was to have a separation of the genders at certain levels in their education. We have tried it in a couple of prepares, but across the system like we would have wanted, we didn't. But there's no question that for some students, their performance academically, vocationally is better if they are in a group of their own sex. No question. I went to a high school that was all boys for the first 4 years. And my own history and experience can tell you that there's a difference in the behavior of boys than we're all boys with girls, co-ed. I ran a school, as you know, the East, that was all boys. And when we sought to introduce girls, the boys were the first to tell you, no, sir. Yeah. Don't bring them here. Don't go.
I know, and it's crazy how we're so short on time and there's so many questions. If the laptops are coming, What if their live boxes?
Well, you know, let's again. I told you that education is everybody's business.
Yeah.
Okay? The idea is that the laptop is to be used in your place of employment, and that
Right
is
there at school.
that is fully Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
outside of your place of employment,
that's on you.
Now, come on. I mean, come on. Come on. All right. I've said to the thousands of parents out there, the way you go and buy books, buy uniform, buy shoes, also buy a device for your child. That is now your child's tool. Okay? You can't expect the government to provide every single thing you need for your education. There has to be some skin in the game. Please.
And we're ready day one. August 30th, we're ready to go.
Yeah. August 30th. Oh, yeah. We're gonna, administrators have been training all summer, teachers. Many curriculum officers have been doing work to reform the curriculum, adjust the curriculum. Because of the learning loss that many of our students, endured over the past year, we have adjusted the curriculum so that we are going to go back and re-emphasize the core principles and subject areas, particularly maths and English. You definitely gonna have to see that at least for the first semester. And if you remember, we had a summer enhancement program this summer, 80 students per school, well oversubscribed. You could have easily had 200 students per school. These were parents and students and the teachers who decided, you know what, we have to kind of catch up, because there was so much that they suffered in the year. And for those who couldn't make it during the summer enhancement, and for those who did, we are again all summer long, the curriculum officers, especially in the primary school, we're working with teachers and principals and saying, let's adjust our programming so that we can re-emphasize those principles in what they call literacy and numeracy, and let's drill those so that no matter what, these students can catch up and keep up. Because Mrs. Black, COVID is here to stay. We're going to have to learn how to deal with this. All right. And if we don't bring these numbers down, and if hospitalizations continue to stay where they are or rise, then virtual learning, unfortunately, may be a greater part of this academic year. I would hate to even think that, but that's a very real possibility. We must get back to a healthy nation so our children can get in school where they want to be, where we want them to be, the teachers who, and this is where they flower.
Yeah.
You see, and it's good for the society. Parents know that children are well taken care of. Thousands need the school system to provide lunch and other materials for their support. They need to go to work, these parents, so that they don't have to have that worrying and issue on their mind.
That's the challenge. Yeah,
yes.
And that's the challenge.
So we know what we need to do. We hear the government saying it, the prime minister has repeated it, and so on. It's an encouragement and it's an invitation. And I would say, let's make it happen.
Minister Jeffrey Lloyd, Minister of Education, thank you so much, Minister Lloyd. Be safe and let the school year begin. We'll see how it goes.
I am so happy to be with you, and I don't know why you haven't called me before now, but I understand. You have so many interesting guests. I listen to you when I can. I'm happy to be even fitted in today.
No, don't do it. I've been waiting for this so long, so I'm happy you said yes and we got it done. Thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate you.
Bless you, my dear.
All right. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. When we come back, we're going to be joined briefly. We got a major announcement. Bahamas Doctors Union Representative Secretary General is going to be joining us, Dr. Tina Mims. And then, of course, I wanted to get my good friend C.A. Nuri to give his thoughts on it, but I think C.A. he and I will have to bond tomorrow when we have a full-on show. But that was interesting, what the Minister of Education shared with us. And I want to get your thoughts on it as well. But we got to take a break and come back with Dr. Tina Mims. What does the Bahamas Doctors Union, what do they want to tell us today? I'm a little uneasy. We'll be back right after.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Looking for a roomy SUV that's affordable? Take a look at the new Chevrolet Traverse. It seats up to 8 and is ranked best in class for cargo space. Its spacious interior design offers the latest features to keep you and your family entertained. What's more, you'll get up to a 5-year, 100,000-kilometer factory warranty along with Chevrolet's superior engineering and safety record. So, test drive the new Chevrolet Traverse today at Nassau Motor Company on Shirley Street, where standards are higher.
Elevate your home with BTC super fast fiber internet plans for the best speeds to stay connected. Get 50% more savings with us and speeds starting at 100 megabits per second up to 600 megabits per second. Enjoy the ultimate internet experience for all your work, study, and entertainment needs. Plus, get unlimited mobile benefits when you add it to your home internet plan. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, this government was nowhere to be seen.
Your aid is coming from the U.S. What are you getting from the Bahamian government?
Nothing at all. Survivors questioned if help from the government would ever arrive.
As relief supplies are now finally arriving, volunteers complain about Bahamian government red tape.
At this point in time, we are on our own and we're trying to get our government officials, please come down here and show your faces.
When they were needed most, this government was nowhere to be found.
This has been a paid political announcement by the PLP.
It's the Hit Back with Nahasha Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahasha Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahasha Black. It's the Hit Back.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Joining me now is the Assistant Secretary General. I was mistaken. I said Secretary General, but the Assistant Secretary General of the Bahamas Doctors Union, Dr. Tina Mims. Dr. Mims, welcome.
Hello, Nahaja. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you, Dr. Mims. Okay. Now, the Bahamas Doctors Union, when you guys are always a friend of the show, I'm a huge advocate for my professionals across the board, teachers, doctors, all of my professionals across the board. But when you guys, I was concerned some weeks ago by things that I had heard that my doctors are concerned themselves. And today I had to reach out. We reached out, we connected, and I gather that there are still some concerns. Tell us what's going on with you guys, the doctors there.
Yes, Nahaja. Now, correctly, at this point in time, the focus is still on the pandemic. Doctors, members of the BDU, we're all together working along with other allied healthcare staff, nurses, and the like to do our best to manage and hopefully with the help of the public to control the pandemic. We are at this point, we are over, I would say the hospitals are overrun. They're a bit overwhelmed, but we are doing our best to manage that. So while we are focusing on the COVID pandemic, and we are still there, we're still fighting it, and we're still working. It should be equally stated that of the broader public health challenges, such as nurses, physician shortage, lack of availability of beds, necessary room repairs, and all the rest of these things these challenges have been with us for quite some time, right? This isn't anything new. But the purpose of us contacting you and also telling the public right now is setting the record about the honoraria. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we've heard a lot.
And that's a big deal. It's been a big deal. And for the record, I just want folks to know that this is one of those topics that I know for a fact you wish you didn't have to talk about. And I know this for a fact that this is a wrestle, that this is not what any of you wish to be talking about at this moment. But there are some issues. And so please share with us.
Okay. So the honorarium, as you all know, is something that the government said that they were paying out or issuing to members of the healthcare staff, healthcare workers, to say thank you for all the work that you have been doing during the pandemic. Okay. Initially indicating that, okay, a certain amount would be paid first to those who volunteered and doctors and nurses, and it'll also be paid to a lesser extent to others who have also been fighting the pandemic. Okay, so in good faith, we have allowed the government to do what they have said that they would do. We gave them time to do what they said they would do. As you all and the public is aware of, about some time back, the government paid out the honorarium, but they conveniently did not pay the doctors. So and we're talking the junior doctors, the ones that are in the trenches, the ones, even some who volunteered. And even the statements of the amount that they were paying some of the volunteers, they paid far less for the very few that got anything. And so we heard of individuals being paid who were not even health staff. We heard of clerical people being paid $5,000. We heard of drivers being paid. We heard of people who are, not that they aren't necessary. Allied health staff are all necessary. Let me be clear about that. But when it comes to the physicians, again, we were placed on the back burner. So with that being said, it leaves us to wonder, do you value us at all? And this is not the first time that we've been placed in this predicament where we've been placed on the back burner and left behind. They like to say that the Bahamas Doctors Union is the union that they can negotiate with. We're the most reasonable ones. And the reason why we're the most reasonable ones is because we know that if we do anything, the people who feel it the most are the Bahamian public. So we are very reluctant to do anything, if anything.
Very much so. They take advantage of that. They told you guys, they take advantage of your heart all the time.
Yeah, that's why we're the most negotiable. Right? Because in the past, we've been the ones to say, okay, we're going to come to the table and we're going to negotiate in good faith. And that's what we did actually last week. Okay, so we met with the Prime Minister, the union executive, some members of our executive met with the Prime Minister and the ministers, cabinet ministers on the 24th, okay, just on Tuesday. It was agreed after we presented our case and we entered into some negotiations that an honorarium of $5,000 would be paid to those who volunteered, those who signed up at the beginning of COVID. Because remember, we're just hearing anything at the beginning. When COVID first came here, there was very little data out about the implications of it, how it would affect our doctors. We had doctors away from their families, away from their homes, isolated, because we didn't know. No one wants to take COVID home to their family members. It was an unprecedented event. And so they were in the first group, and it was agreed that those persons would receive the $5,000 to the first group of practitioners who volunteered. It was also agreed that the second group of participants who later volunteered around in October, that's during the second wave, that they would receive an honorarium on a pro rata basis. And it was also agreed as soon as these numbers, the names and the number of individuals was provided, that payments would be made. So that was what was agreed upon, and we were to present it on Monday. Tuesday, we should have something back. It was also stated by the Junior Minister of Finance that the government could find the money. So
this was when? Let's go back. Take me, which date this was?
This was on the 24th.
Oh, August?
Yeah.
August.
Monday, Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was stated that the government could find the money, correct? We thought we didn't have an issue. But on Wednesday, August 25th, our president received a call from the Prime Minister advising that only 1/4 of the amount would be due and would be paid before the end of the month. Now, I want you to know that the union executive board, we negotiate on behalf of our members. We don't make any decisions without the general input of all the members. Okay, so the truth of the matter is, hearing that's something that would have anybody crestfallen, because I didn't put 25% work in when I came to work to save people's lives. When I volunteered, I didn't quarter of the way volunteer. I volunteered 100%. And this becomes a matter of respect, Natasha, because if you have people, professionals who are there risking their lives, and then you're going to say, okay, I'm going to give money to whoever I want to give money to, or give it to who I think is going to make the most noise, then it becomes, okay, let me see who I can quiet off, who I can, make quiet, and let's make this all go away. The issue that our members had, Nahaja, is we feel grossly disrespected, and that cannot fly. We cannot allow that to continue to happen, because we are professionals, we work hard. If we don't work, Bahamians, I don't know what would happen to our healthcare system. It would not run. So we demand the respect that is due to the physicians who put their lives on the line every day at work in suboptimal conditions to save Bahamian lives.
Dr. Tina Mims joining us, Assistant Secretary General of the Bahamas Doctors Union. I have to ask this because I can hear some of my listeners asking, saying, well, it's a gift though. You guys are demanding what the government deemed a gift. What would you say to that response?
What I would say is that this gift is a token of appreciation, but it also shows respect. I don't want to be paid cash. I want to be paid in respect. It just happens to come with their gift. Because if you can pay the driver, if you can pay the cleaner, if you can pay the nurses, equally as important, the nurses are very important, but if you can pay them, you can pay us. And this is not the first time that the government has done this to us. They have been doing this to us for years. As a matter of fact, I was reminded of a press statement that we issued back in 2019 about the same issue. The government still owes us millions of dollars in back pay, in holiday pay, where doctors come in and they neglect their families, they neglect their personal health, and they come in and they do the job. We cannot be paid, and they cannot pay us for the hours that we put in, but yet we still come. And then you still do not want to give us what we are owed, what we work for. And yet we see other organizations getting what they are owed or what they work for several years now. And we still haven't said anything. We still haven't gotten paid. And we still show up to work because we show up for the Bahamian people. But at some point in time, it's got to stop. The disrespect has got to stop. And it's stopping here.
Oh, and and that's the next question for me. What happens? I mean, so the government offers the doctors, again, totally different from what is said at the negotiating table. Said at the negotiating table, you guys are going to be straight. How many doctors are left wanting from the first movement, from the first payout? How many junior doctors found themselves, who were on the front line in the first grouping of volunteers, found themselves not being paid? And I was told that even emergency room doctors, who are at the face of it, haven't been taken care of either. But how many doctors would you say?
There are literally hundreds of doctors who are not being addressed. There are about 5 doctors who actually received the honorarium of $5,000, 5 in total, not including myself, of course. Only 5 in total. 5 in total got $5,000 in honorarium. 5.
Wow.
Yeah, 5.
And I know of doctors who've caught COVID, who got COVID because they were on the front line and they weren't taken. Yeah, you were on my show, Tina, after. I remember how worried I was about you. And it's just, first of all, it's just really good to know that you're here with us, and that you recovered well. Okay, but what happens now? Now you move away from the negotiating table. You move away believing that things were resolved. You were told by the Prime Minister then you had the funds. Your Ministry of Finance, the acting, what was it? The junior Minister of Finance saying that we have the funds. Now you get a message today. You said it was today or yesterday? When you get the call from the Prime Minister?
Yesterday. That was Wednesday.
So that you get the call that, hey, we're going to give you a quarter of what we promised, and you're going to get it at the end of the month. Any other what happens now? What happens now?
Well, needless to say, Nahaja, we were displeased with that response. And so we took it to the body because we cannot make decisions of ourselves. And so what we did is we took it to the wider body, and then we had them made the decision. And we came back to the table, and we were saying that, no, that is not what we agreed upon. You're going to have to stick to your word, which you initially said you would do. And we're going to go with that.
And so what happens now? What if they don't agree to it? What if they can't make it happen? What is the next recourse for the union? What is next?
Well, Nahaja, I'm not at liberty to reveal that right now, but we will definitely be having a meeting, and then we'll take some action and make a decision on what action we will take thereafter.
You know, Dr. Mims, one of the things people will say, well, listen, you know, people will die if you guys don't show up. People will die if the doctors, you know, unfortunately do what they must as human beings to get the respect that they need, and saying, hey, listen, we're here, we're humans, we're doing this work, we're on the front line, and we can't keep being used this way. So I understand your position, but there will be folks who say, but if you do this, then people will die. What do you say to that, Dr. Mims?
You know, Nahaja, we know the gravity of what we do every day. We see patients, some who we are able to save, especially in this pandemic, some who we're not. And we are fully aware. The weight of all of this is really on us. We do not take any movement that we make lightly. We are the Junior Doctors Association, right? The Bahamas Doctors Union. There are also senior doctor consultants, but there are far more junior doctors than the senior doctors.
Yep.
So we do the bulk of the work, right? We do not want to leave the Bahamian people, the public, our people, our families without care. Listen to me clearly. We do not. It is not the desire of any one of us to step out and leave our patients. This is when we have a passion for what we do. And when you take the temperature of the body, because this has been going on for weeks, we do not want to pose any action that would put our families in danger.
Mm-hmm.
But there will come a point, there will reach a breaking point to where we can't even take it anymore. We are there. We are all there. You can walk in A&E and it's just overrun. We are all there. We are human beings. What I want is for people to realize we are human beings, and we show up regardless of how we feel. We show up regarding of all the pain and suffering we see. We show up, and we do. But it is grossly unfair, borderline inhumane, to be disrespected by the government who is above you when we are doing what we can. The whole economy, tourism, everything hinges on healthcare, and we are grinding it out without respite. Why would you treat us that way? Why? Why would you? Why would you treat us like we're nothing? How is that fair? How can you feel comfortable doing that? And the money is there. It's not like it's not. But then they want to negotiate and see what they can get and what they can hold back. And no, I don't negotiate with lives. When there's a life to be saved, we are there, we do what we have to do. And it's time for the government to do what they have to do and what they said they were going to do. Own up to it. Hold firm and do what you said that you were going to do.
Powerful message, Dr. Tina Mims joining us, Assistant Secretary General joining us. You know, and a lot of folks saying, you know, they wish they had the funds, and a lot of people, this has been something that the conversation on the issue of disrespect has been one that you junior doctors have been going through, and one of the processes here in this has been watching junior doctors not being hired and then being called back during the pandemic, being told that there's no room for you, but now we need you. We're gonna not confirm you before, but we're gonna confirm you now, but we're gonna confirm you in the height of a pandemic, so your health is at risk. And so I understand, man. I understand what you all are going through, and it is definitely one where some will argue, but you have a Hippocratic oath. You have an oath to do no harm, and this will be harmful. And I don't know what else to say, but I understand you're humans first, and you're at a breaking point, and it should not come to this. Speaking for your union and your members, when do you need an answer?
We need an answer today.
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 We're not going any further with this conversation. This must be answered today.
Yes.
We have a caller on the line. I'm hoping that this caller is on topic. So we'll do this really quickly before we go. Caller, you're on the hit back. Welcome. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hello, Miss Black. How you doing, Sparky?
Hey, Sparky, how you doing?
Yeah, but see, the thing is, Miss Black, see, sometimes you try to talk and say, make a point. I know you only got about 3 or 4 minutes left in your show. I was on the line for 15 minutes. The phone was ringing. And then the producer picks up the phone.
Sparky, you losing time with the story. Just ask a question, Sparky. Ask a question.
How can I ask the question now, but I got 3 minutes, 3 seconds?
All right, Sparky. Yeah, you wasn't helpful. All right. We digress. Dr. Tina Mims, the whole thing is now is the time. We're expecting today for the answer for you and the Bahamas Doctors Union. Any final words you want anyone in the administration to hear right now?
What I'd like to say on behalf of the Bahamas Doctors Union is that we, the physicians, are here for the public. We have always been. Even when we demonstrated before, we still left skeleton crews in the hospital to make sure that our people were okay. But our kindness, our good hearts are not weaknesses. They shouldn't be treated as such. Because we are passionate about what we do, because we take care of our families. We're Bahamians, we're all Bahamians. We're all related somehow, some way. Whenever I meet someone and I meet another Bahamian or an elderly Bahamian and they're so happy that Bahamians are serving them and, oh, you're a Bahamian, I'm so proud of you. We love that. We love to serve our people. We love to serve our people. And so for us to be so far gone in this situation, it's sad. It's really sad. We're sad to be here. But we need the support of the Bahamian public. We are not going to leave you high and dry. We do our best to serve you in every which way we can. But those who are responsible for this blatant disrespect need to be held responsible. And I would ask for the public to help us hold them accountable for what they do and what they do not do, for the inadvertent messages that they send by not paying us. They're saying you're not important, or you're not as important, or we don't need to focus or care about you. And what we do need is a lot more of caring nowadays, especially for those who are burning the candles at both ends. And I'm talking about our healthcare workers. We cannot neglect them. We cannot continue neglecting them. And I wish I could be paid I wish it was about money. This isn't about money. This is about respect. This is about human decency. And if we can have some of that, we wouldn't have any problems.
Dr. Tina Mims, listen, it's an honor and it's sad that this is the conversation we're having. But it's a conversation that needs to be had. And I'm happy that you said it and you said it loud. You need an answer by today. And I'm hoping that you get the response that we, the Bahamian people, need you to get so that we can continue focusing and fighting this pandemic. You have our support. And of course, Bahamians, we thank you for your service, all of your colleagues, because we know what you're trying to do and what you're doing. And you're dealing with a lot of mental stress as well. Patients that ain't making it, things you're seeing. And I wish we could honor you. I wish I had the money to honor you, but we'll get it right. They got to get it right, right? They got to get it right. They got to get it right.
They do. We pray they do.
We pray
Thank
they
you
do.
for having me.
Thank you. Dr. Tina Mims, Assistant Secretary General of the Bahamas Doctors Union, joining us. Let's pray they get this resolved, y'all. There's no doubt we need to get this resolved. And this is a matter of respect. Listen to those words and understand it. If you can pay everyone else, pay us. You've been ignoring us. We feel disrespected. It can't go on any longer. We've got to get this resolved for the lives of our people. Pause on the fancy bridge. It'll get done, but you need to do that right now. Let's figure out the priorities. Let's get this pandemic under control. Let's deal with our healthcare providers. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe.